G'day everyone and welcome to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be going over my NBA Eastern Conference predictions for the year. Just going to be putting them in their standings place in what I predict will be the outcome at the end of the season. Probably going to get a lot wrong, but let's start with the top. And in first place I'm going to go with the Philadelphia 76ers. Yes, a repeat of last year I believe, because I think Philly were the number one seed last season if I remember correctly. But they're just built for it again this season, I believe. I really like what Daryl Morey's done with the roster, bringing in the likes of PJ Tucker, DeAnthony Melton, and Montrezl Harrell. PJ Tucker is really for the playoffs, to be honest. Montrezl Harrell will be great in the regular season, as he always is. Especially if Embiid's going to take a few games off here and there, just due to load management and not wanting to play back-to-backs. But Harrell can obviously get the job done in the regular season. And I just like their lineup options going into the playoffs, and they have a pretty good shot at the title if you ask me. But yeah, I think they're just going to rack up regular season wins with these, especially with the likes of Tyrese Maxey. It looks like he's taken another step forward. He's just absolutely been killing it. So they're my pick to finish first place in the regular season in the Eastern Conference. In second place, I have the Milwaukee Bucks. Can't really see them dropping too far lower than that, to be honest. There's one player you're going to bet on, it's basically going to be Giannis. He's just an absolute freak. I mean, he's called the Greek Freak for a reason. And even with Middleton out, I think for the start of the season, he'll keep them afloat and get the job done, especially with Drew Holiday and the likes of their other good role players like Lopez and Portis. I think Giannis is just on a mission, and I wouldn't be shocked if he wins another MVP this season, and that would make it his third in his career. There's still a long way to go, so look out Giannis and the Bucks, especially come the postseason. In third place, I'm going to put the Boston Celtics. There's been obviously a lot of drama inside that organization recently, but I think they're going to be good enough to get through it and finish in the top four at least. Especially with the likes of adding Malcolm Brogdon, I should say. He's a great player. I think he's going to be the sixth man, I guess, but you could easily see him fitting into that starting lineup, especially with Robert Williams, who looks like he's going to be out for the start of the season for quite a while. That's the only thing I'm really worried about, is them dropping, because they just seem to be a totally different team with Robert Williams just roaming the paint and being a great defensive player that he is. But yeah, I'm going to pick them to finish third. Now in fourth place, I'm going to put my least confident prediction. I'm just putting the Brooklyn Nets there because I have absolutely no idea. I mean, I could see them being the first seed, and I could also see them not making the playoffs. That's how crazy this team is and how varied I think their results can be. I mean, it looks like if all three of their so-called stars play, Kevin Durant, Kyrie, and Simmons all play, they have good role players around them like Seth Curry, Patty Mills, Harris. They're a bit small in the front court, I guess, with only Claxton, but it basically just comes down to health and the chemistry. I just have no idea how that's going to work, so I'm just going to put them in the middle at about fourth place, and I'll go from there. Next up, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers in fifth place. Now, I might be a bit high on this team, because I think a lot of people are taking the under on their regular season record, but I'm gonna roll with them. I know they're young, but I really like the addition of Donovan Mitchell, obviously, especially if he can learn to play defense again. But just the young stars in Garland and Mobley, along with players like Jared Allen and then you have Kevin Love and Rubio off the bench. Hopefully Rubio can get back to his best before he got injured last season, because he was a joy to watch when he was leading those Cavaliers teams without Sexton. But yeah, I'm really quite high on the Cavs, and honestly I hope they can get fourth spot, because I just really like their team, and in the years going forward I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Sixth place now, I'm just sneaking out of the plane. I'm going to put the Toronto Raptors, because they just always seem to be in the playoffs. They just seem to always get the job done. There's not a lot of coverage around them. And I'm just going to go with their Rookie of the Year, Scotty Barnes, on taking another leap. And then Pascal Siakam looks to be gunning for like a big-time improvement this year as well. He should be making the All-Star team. And they're just a modern team. I really like the coach, Nick Nurse, although he does whinge a lot, but I mean, everyone does in the NBA. But they're just like Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent, and then everyone else is like 6'7", 6'8", just the new type of NBA. And everyone's been saying OG Anunoby is going to take a leap someday. I think this year could be the year. So yeah, I'm going to go the Toronto Raptors in 6th position. In 7th place, I'm going to be putting the Atlanta Hawks. People are quite high on this team, I believe. I think people would probably disagree with me and put them at least in the 5th to 6th place bracket. But I'm just not sold. I mean, they gave up a lot for DeJounte Murray, so they have to be confident it's going to work. And I just want to see it because, to be honest, Trae Young is a great offensive player, but until he learns to play off the ball and plays a bit of defense and isn't just a cone, I think they're going to struggle. But you know what? They probably won't struggle in the regular season, and it'll happen in the playoffs. But I'm just not as convinced as other people are. And with Capella and Collins, not really sure if they're happy at the moment in the current situation. I mean, Collins is always on the trade block, and I feel like Kongwu, their backup center, is looking for more minutes. And with Capella there, it's going to be hard to come by. So I'm putting them at 7th. Next up is probably my biggest hot take in the video. I know the fans are not going to be happy with where I put this team, and that's the Miami Heat. I'm going to predict them to sneak in at 8th spot. I'm just not high on this team at all. With Butler getting older, Lowry is 36. I just don't see them. I think their time's finally gonna start falling off. I mean, they have a great coach, so that's why I can't disregard him completely. And Jimmy Butler is a star. But if he misses games due to injuries again and Bam doesn't step up the way I think he should, I mean, Bam should be shooting and being a lot more aggressive than he is. But if he isn't and Lowry is just not up to scratch again, especially with his conditioning, I could see some big trouble for the Heat this season. And that's one of my hot takes, that they're going to drop really low in the top half of the standings, especially from being a shot away from the finals last year. In 9th position, I'm going to be putting the Chicago Bulls, but honestly, you could swap them with my 10th place prediction in the Knicks as well. I'm just not high on the Bulls, especially without Lonzo Ball. They got off to such a good start last year with the two-headed perimeter defense monster in Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso. But without Lonzo, I think they are a different team. And if DeRozan or Levine take a slight step back, they're going to have a hard time this season, especially with Vucevic not really living up to his potential. I mean, they gave up a lot for Vucevic, and it just hasn't worked out. Orlando easily won that trade. And I think the Bulls are going to really struggle with their lack of outside shooting and just the way they finished last season. I think it's going to be more of the same of that. They're going to really struggle this year. As I mentioned, I have the New York Knicks in at 10th, but you know what? I think I'm going to swap them with the Bulls. I'm going to put them 9th. I'll just probably put that in the comments of my video. I think that they are just going to be just a perfect average team. I think the addition of Brunson makes them a lot better. If they actually play their young guys like Grimes and Obi Toppin, I think they could get some good development, but I'm just not sure if that's going to convert into wins. If they get the Julius Randle of a couple of years ago, they could be great, especially if RJ Barrett lives up to that new contract of his. Just if Derrick Rose stays healthy, I think a big factor the Knicks struggled so much was they were without Derrick Rose, and I'm not sure if that just says where the Knicks are or not, but with Coach Thibodeau as well, I'm a bit worried about him because normally after a few years his time on the team could be up and they start to hit a downhill slope. But you know, I think the Knicks are going to be in the play-in one way or another. Honestly, now I'm just going to get through these last teams quickly because I don't really have too much to say about them. I mean, I'm not predicting them to make the play-in, so there's not a whole lot to talk about. But I'm going to go with the Washington Wizards. Just think they're a bunch of just decent players, but not good enough to make the postseason, and especially health-wise, if Porzingis or Beal goes down, I don't think there's any hope. Then I'm going to put Detroit, Charlotte, Orlando, and then Indiana. But I'm actually going to put this down in the comments as well. I'm actually going to pick Charlotte to finish last in the conference. That's one of my other hot takes. I just think Charlotte, if they're just not going to be good. That's my hot take. I think they were fun to watch last year for a bit, but with all the stuff that's happened with Miles Bridges and that awful situation, and if LaMelo Ball is injured, like I've just heard that he's going to be out for the start of the season, if they get off to a rocky start, just prepare them to just go all out tank for Victor. Same for Indiana as well. And Orlando, I do like a lot of their players, but they just need a star, and I don't see a star on the roster at the moment at this stage. I mean, they definitely have a player or two that could develop into one, but just not at this stage. But yeah, those are my predictions, guys. Make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed. Let me know your predictions. I know a few of you, actually a lot of you, probably aren't going to agree with where I put them. Honestly, I'm not expecting them all to be right, obviously. But yeah, let me know what you think, guys, and I appreciate you guys for watching. Peace.